Awesome. Merci, Lucy.
This is our health and safety group project. Myself and Sarah are the co-chairs. On the management side, we have Taz, Danielle, Jeff, Jacob, and myself, Sinead. And on the employee side, we have Sarah, Carly, Alexia, Brayden, and Jen.
So a few weeks ago, one of our co-workers, Paula, had an accident. And while she was rushing to the printer, she tripped over the cords and she bumped her head against the desk that the printer is sitting on. And since then, she's been off her work. Her and her family have been having issues with her being in pain and all that. And she's only been coming back to work for the past 2 weeks, but she's been on part-time, considering she's still going to physiotherapy.
Although this accident is very unfortunate, I believe we should all take this opportunity to learn from this experience and aim to create a safer work environment. What are some steps that we can take in the right direction to achieve the goal of a safe work environment?
We have discussed some different methods and interventions that could potentially prevent any workplace accidents from reoccurring. First, we have an engineering control. We should arrange the printer area so that there's one printer per 2 people to avoid the rush and traffic around the printers. A new printer will cost approximately $2,000 and will take 3 days to ship and then be installed. All wires should be taped to the floor or put up in a wire barrier to prevent further incidents from occurring, such as tripping like Paula did. Since the wires were loose and exposed, placing a preventive tape over the wires will keep them from interacting and prevent any wires from staying loose. So the use of caution tape or duct tape can be used to show where the wires are.
Another engineering control would be to ensure all printers are out of the walking path of employees. As well, a diagram or blueprint of the office identifying all hazards can be posted and visible to all employees.
An administrative control would be to have weekly safety huddles. At this time, employees can be informed of any new equipment that has been installed. What will be discussed are any new safety hazards and any new equipment that needs to be fixed. Also in these safety huddles, any concerns that employees have can be brought up in these huddles.
Behavioral control would be to have at least one of the 4 associates trained in first aid, as well as we need to incorporate an RAC program. An RAC program will allow us to recognize hazards, assess and control them. This will help prevent and eliminate similar cases, create permanent records for later use, and promote safety awareness among all employees.
And we would like to start doing monthly walkthroughs of the work areas so we know there's no hazards, and if there is any, we can do the risk assessment on the hazards so we can get rid of them. And we also believe that there should be 1 supervisor present per 4 employees.
So as management, we see the value in all of your recommendations, but we have some of our own that we would like to implement as well to ensure that there is safety among all of the employees. So Carly, we agree with the workers' recommendations that all of the wires should be taped to the floor or put in a wire barrier. So pertaining to adding more printers, we don't have the sufficient funds or to accommodate the additional printers or the adequate room for spacing as suggested. So instead we have additional safety procedures we can put in place. So place barriers around the printer to prevent any further injuries, place cushioning on the sharp corners, and ensure that the printer room has adequate lighting so that it's not too dark so people can see the cords on the floor. And Jen, we also agree with having a blueprint or diagram displayed in the office. So would you be able to be in charge of that and have it implemented by Friday next week?
Sure.
Good.
Okay, so in the administrative aspect of the job, there are measures that could be taken to prevent a future accident like this from happening. Oftentimes when employees are at work, they become stressed, and when this happens, they're not focused. So to avoid that, we can implement a set and stable break schedule to make sure they're not overworked and to make sure they are alert at all times. Also, requiring all employees to agree to manuals before operating equipment in the workplace could prevent potential injuries like this from occurring. So just having them look over the printer manual to know where all the parts are could help. Also, employees need to be trained on all safety risks in the workplace as well as what to do if one occurs. And on our part, we need to change employee attitudes, knowledge, or behavior regarding risk awareness, and we can do this by creating a positive work environment and an openness amongst all employees by doing skills training and touching base with all employees frequently.
We as a group agree with Sarah as we have the same opinion about a monthly walkthrough. This will help the workplace environment to identify any safety issues and also identify the risk involved. This will allow for both employees and managers to seek any problems that might be evident. We also would like to implement hazard identification programs to help out with the process to streamline it. We would like to review the safety reports every year to go over our findings to prevent any incidents from occurring again. Using the training programs, we can help train employees to identify potential hazards and report them to management immediately.
So to increase safety behaviour to reduce the likelihood of accidents occurring, we suggest implementing the following strategies. The development of safe work habits. Employees are motivated to be safe because they're gaining a reward or avoiding a negative outcome. So these rewards can include gift cards or bonuses. And we also want to make sure employees learn how to recognize workplace hazards. We also agree with what Braden said earlier about having at least one person trained in CPR for every 4 employees.
To also promote workplace behavior, safe behavior, we can do housekeeping and maintenance standards. So we can ensure that there is a nightly cleaning staff that are safety trained to make sure everything is in the right place when they clean up at night. We also want to encourage the employees to be self-monitoring and recognize symptoms of hazardous exposure, so we can definitely do this through training. So we believe in order to have safe performance, employees must have the ability, the motivation and opportunity to work safely. So we address the ability, we're going to be doing this through training. The motivation, we can do this through a reward program, as Jake just mentioned, through gift cards, etc. And we can also reward for a certain number of days with no injuries or accidents. And we can also provide the employees with the opportunity to work safely.
And we also had another idea to use our employee badges to go to the print. Considering when Paula was going to the printer, she was rushing to get her work, and that's when she did fall. So we were thinking to use our badges to have a little swipe thing on top of the printer to know that's our job that's getting printed out.
How exactly will the system work? Can you go into more detail? Will each person have a single printer? How will it work?
So everyone will still use the same printer. It's basically we have to sign in onto our computer with our ID numbers and everything like that. So it'd be the exact same thing going to the printer. It'd just be a little black thing like this size, and you just little swipe thing, you just swipe it, and you can either enter your password or just do it with your card, and that's when your job will get printed.
Is it only one print job at a time, or will it do many at once?
It's just wherever you print it from your computer.
Okay.
If you print, you can be like, oh, I want this one. If you by accident printed, oh, this picture, if you don't want that, you can select what jobs you want.
Okay.
We agree with the additional safety procedures instead of purchasing new printers. We agree that proper illumination covering all cords and placing the printer in a safe place will avoid any safety risks.
So Sarah, we definitely think that the swipe card idea is excellent, and we will definitely look into the cost and efficiency of that system.
Okay, perfect. Sounds great.
And also, communication is going to be a key point from now on. So our weekly safety huddles that Alexia recommended will ensure that all new practices are going to be implemented and being practiced by all of the employees.
That's good.
If you have any questions regarding any of the content discussed in this meeting, please direct them towards any member of the management team. We're happy to help.
I have a question.
What is it, Jen?
What is the new timeline for the new practice to be implemented?
We hope to have all of these practices put in place by the end of this month.
Okay.
Sarah, can you please be in charge of sending the minutes of the meeting to the employees?
Yes, of course I can do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So in conclusion, are we all in agreement to the relocation of the printer
Yeah.
Yes.
and the safety training?
Yes.
Okay. And what about the modification of the workplace environment?
How much will it be modified? A lot?
So as we talked about, we're going to have proper illumination around the printer, cushions around the printer for any sharp edges, and make sure the printer is not in the middle of the room, so it's in a safe location.
Yeah.
And what about the new reward system?
Yeah, I think that'd be really helpful for
So is it we go somebody who's had an accident and then we get something?
Yeah, so we're going to look into the details of it, and we're going to have it implemented by the end of the month, but basically that. And then also, if people are doing all the proper safety protocols, we're definitely going to celebrate them and reward them for that behavior. And what about the proposed idea that Sarah brought up about the swipe card for the printer?
I think that's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
Sounds good.
Okay, so in conclusion, I think that we all have all come to agreement, so the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
This is our health and safety group project. Myself and Sarah are the co-chairs. On the management side, we have Taz, Danielle, Jeff, and Jacob, and myself, Sinead. And on the employee side, we have Sarah, Carly, Alexia, Brayden, and Jen.
So a few weeks ago, Paula had an injury at work and she tripped over the printer cord and hit her head against the printer. And since then, she's been off of work. Her family and her have been suffering from pain. Not her. Start that